people, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really genuinely do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, of course. The daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea, giving you my opinion on it for whatever that's worth. More importantly, asking for yours today, ladies and gentlemen, strikers and sails. Of course, Chelsea qualified to the next round of the FA Cup last night with a 4-0 win against Preston. We're going to talk about the ramifications about that a little bit, or the fallout at least, regarding Armando Breer. The Chelsea manager has spoken a little bit on him. Ivan Toney scoring a hat-trick for the development squad of Brentford as he gets ready to come back into first-team football due to his ban being lifted. Brentford say they don't want to sell, but is it worth the £100 million price tag? Confirmation that Ian Marson to Dortmund is on the cusp of completion as well. If you're interested in my reaction to the 4-0 win last night in the FA Cup with 4 different goal scorers, go and watch the previous upload to this, my review, my complete breakdown of Chelsea's 4-0 win, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. Otherwise, get comfortable, we're going to get into the Chelsea news today. Now, I'm using a different microphone. As you know, the studio space here, I'm optimizing more and more every day. I'm trying to sort out the reverb, of which there is a bit. I'm hoping this microphone is okay with that. I no longer am restricted by the lapel microphone, so I can now dance. Yeah. Let me know what the audio is like in the comments section below. Alright then, let's get into it. Actually, a quick moment of housework. If you want to support the content, please do like, comment, subscribe, share, all the good lovely stuff that keeps my lights on. And boy, there's a lot of studio lights in here, so I need them kept on. Thank you for supporting the content. Let's start off with this deal with Dortmund for Ian Marson. Florian Plettenberg of Sky News tweets this. News, Marson, positive developments today. In the final stage now, it's becoming more and more likely that the 21-year-old will join BVB soon. It's a 6-month loan. The verbal agreement is done. Boom, ladies and gentlemen. This makes total sense, certainly for the young player himself, Dortmund's massive club. Granted, they're still sort of trying to get into the top 4 in the Bundesliga, and it's been a bit of a shaky season for them, but they're hoping their January business will essentially supercharge them a little bit. Ian Marson at presumably left back, and of course Jadon Sancho. 2 loans that should get them into the Champions League again, you would think. Makes sense for Ian Marson. Does it make sense for Chelsea? I guess so, in hindsight. If we're going to trust the manager, which we still have to, by the way, for the time being, if he wants to play Levi Colwill at left back, fine. Of course, Cucurella and Chilwell are coming back from injury. Marson's not being utilised properly as a left back, and to be honest now, with the form of Noni Madueke, with the solidified starting position for Cole Palmer, Mudryk, Sterling and Kunku playing out wide, he's going to find it tough, Ian Marson. And of course, here it comes, I apologise, he is a pure profit asset. So if he can go to Dortmund for 6 months, play well, heck, they like him, or other teams in Europe watch him play at a high level and like him, it makes total sense to juice up his value. And we almost certainly won't get the £31.5 million sterling bid that Burnley put in and Chelsea accepted for Marson. Of course, he rejected a move to Burnley, understandably, even though he did well there the previous season. I don't think we'll get that much. But if we get £20-25 million, Chelsea will be very happy, I think. So Ian Marson to Dortmund, let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And let's move on. An update from the secret scout, Ivan Toney scored a hat-trick for the development squad for Brentford. I believe the game before he scored a brace. Granted, this is a youth team football or development team football and he's just popping off scoring loads of goals. We've obviously heard Thomas Frank say he's not for sale, he's staying unless it's like £100 million, or that's what's being touted. Of course, he's got 18 months left in his deal. I personally think they would be nuts to sell him. Premier League status is worth so much more for them at the moment, and they could genuinely get dragged down into a relegation battle if Luton can sort themselves out, which looks like they kind of possibly could, you know? I don't know, that's what I think personally. Unless they're looking around going, nah, we won't get relegated, we'll sort this out. Yes, Mbeumo's injured. Yes, Viss is going to AFCON. But I think, you know, we can get a couple of players back in the second half of the season. we won't get relegated, we're going to be alright. And therefore, what, we sell Tony now for 100 million, or what, 40 million in the summer when he's got 12 months left on his deal. Suddenly they might be looking at the money and saying this is worth rolling the dice. Now we can talk about whether Chelsea should sign him or not. I speak about this quite a lot lately on the channel and indeed on my social media. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at FootballYannick, where I do lives at half times of Chelsea games, and just go live all the time if you want an interaction with me at FootballYannick on Instagram. I said I have concerns for Ivan Toney, because he's played really, and I've used this comparison, I've explained it on the channel as well. I think I explained it in yesterday's video. Ivan Toney's done his best work in a high-octane transitional system in Brentford when they sort of break with devastating pace, and he's got a strike partner. Now, I compared him a little bit to Armando Breer, who we're going to talk about in a moment, being used to running on the break with a strike partner. Now, making Breer Chelsea's lone number 9 in a different system where you keep the ball is going to be tough for him, especially with him coming off a massive bad injury, Armando Breer. Now, Tony's a bit more of a senior player. He's certainly very, very self-confident. I'm not, but then again, there's an element of old dog, new tricks. He's not that old. He's late 20s. But, if you said to him, right, you're used to playing without the ball and running with a strike partner on transition on the break. Right, now you got to play with the ball and you're by yourself up there as a lone striker. I'm not saying he can't do it, but it's a different job. And that's why I often reference how, granted, it's a different league, and that we don't know how that translates to the Premier League. But Victor Osimhen is pretty much more of an appropriate profile, because Napoli, they want to play with the ball, and he's a lone striker, flanked with a couple of wingers. That's what he would be at Chelsea, or indeed Arsenal, because Arsenal are looking for a striker as well. They want to play with the ball, they want to play with a lone striker. So Osimhen looks like he could be more appropriate, but again, just because you've popped off in Italy for a season doesn't mean you're going to come to the Prem and do well. Lukaku. So it's a tricky one. I did want to put it out to you guys and say, what do you think about Ivan Toney? It's been reiterated yet again by multiple journalists yesterday and is around the headlines. Julien Laurens of ESPN have spoken about it, saying, look, Pochettino wants a striker this January. I know after the match yesterday he says, well, we don't know, we'll see. And he referenced how he's here with Badad, Lawrence and Paul and Stanley. So he's there with the sporting directors last night at Stamford Bridge. Badad Iqbali of Clear Lake. Essentially, the Roman Abramovich of this ownership. I know everyone wants to talk about Todd Boehly. Todd Boehly owns a little bit of Chelsea. Badad Iqbali represents the ownership of over 60% of Chelsea. He's the big boy, he's the big dog. But, I think it's almost, or it's potentially by design, that the media and the football fans of the world look at Todd Boehly. Maybe it's an easier target. Maybe they designed, I always said, maybe the ownership consortium was designed for Todd Boehly to be the face, out there shaking hands, kissing babies. Maybe. It's only a thought from me. But still, Pochettino says, look, we're meeting, we're chatting about it, we're not sure at the moment. Basically, really keeping it calm, but that's just smart management from the Chelsea gaffer, not going, oh, we're going to make loads of inquiries, because when things are heating up as you sort of war into January a bit more, you don't want to be like, we're buying, ladies and gentlemen, like throwing the cash everywhere, because it doesn't put you in a strong negotiating position. You've got to be a little bit coy about these things, which Pochettino was yesterday. But as Nini, it says from Blue Lines TV, when I popped on his channel, he's quite happy for Chelsea to sign no one, and that sort of ties in nicely to what we're about to talk about with Armando Breer. But what do you think? I want to leave it with you guys. Would you, if Pochettino does want a striker, if that's the truth, would you take Ivan Toney? Of course, Arsenal fans want him. My opinion on it is, I do have reservations. You could get him for a lot cheaper in 6 months. You could get other strikers in 6 months. He wants to play for Arsenal, Ivan Toney. I'm not saying he wouldn't come to Chelsea. I think he would come to Chelsea if they're like, that Arsenal can't afford you. They've got, financial fair play issues. But Chelsea come in. I reckon you go, yeah, no whackers. Let me go to Chelsea. It's not, I don't have to move. It's still, West London. So I'll be very interested to learn what you guys think. Even though I have reservations about the money you'd have to spend on him, about the style of him playing in a Chelsea system by himself up top, I would still get excited if he turned up at Chelsea in the next couple of weeks, wore a Chelsea shirt, and was like, yeah, I'm good to go, I'm in form, I've been scoring goals for Brentford's development, so I'm fit, drop me in, gaffer, do you know what I mean? If he's like that, then how can you not get excited? But I'd still have the same classic Chelsea fan fear of, here we go again, big money signing, is it going to work? You know, and yes, he scored 20 Prem goals, it's amazing. He did get a few penalties though, and Cole Palmer looks like he can take penalties. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. And let's move on and talk about another Chelsea striker in Armando Breer. Right, Breer scored a goal last night. Good header. Nearly scored another one immediately. Like I said, I went into detail in yesterday's performance in the previous upload, if you are interested in that. But he was very, very anonymous in the first half. He came off looking pretty miserable, and Pochettino sort of referenced that in his post-match press conference, which I recently watched. He sort of like playfully slapped his face and like, what's up, you know, smile, man, do you know what I mean? Like, you've just scored. And he even said in the post-match presser, you know, he's got to like show he's happy a little bit more and not look miserable and down or whatever. Look, he was, for a lot of Chelsea fans, bottom of the list at the moment, as in, like, you know, who would you play, you know, for, you know, people would go, oh, Nico Jackson maybe, or Nkunku and then Breer, or a new striker and play Nkunku in behind. No one's really thinking Breer should lead the line. But Armando is a really, really good striker and super, super highly thought of by Chelsea. I've obviously explained my reservations in terms of he was out for a year, essentially. He's a young player. And when he sort of had a fairly decent time at Southampton, he didn't score a lot of goals, but he showed what he was about. He was still sort of running with a strike partner in a, you know, two-striker system, and it was different. But Chelsea believe they've got something amazing there, and Pochettino does too. So I'm going to read you some quotes from the Athletic article that was published after Chelsea's win against Preston in the FA Cup. Mauricio Pochettino has described Armando Breer as one of the most promising young strikers in Europe, but has urged the Chelsea forward now to, quote, step up and push himself. Breer scored the opening goal in Chelsea's 4-0 FA Cup third-round win over Preston after starting in place of Nicolas Jackson, who's away for the African Cup of Nations. The Albanian striker returned to fitness in September after 9 months sidelined with an ACL injury, but Pochettino has now challenged the 22-year-old to make good on his potential. Quote, "It was really important for him," Pochettino said in his goal. "I need to be honest, he needs to use this type of game to score and feel the net and to improve. Improve not only in his fitness, but his body language also. He needs to step up, go forward and to move. He needs to get more positive. The potential is amazing. We're talking about one of the young strikers in England and in Europe with the most potential. But the problem now is he needs to push himself. And we're going to try and help him realise that it's never enough. He's nearly 1 year away injured, and of course now he needs time. It's not easy for him to perform and be the level that we expect. Our expectation is massive, and we really believe in him. We're going to push him to improve every day." When speaking about when he came off, Pochettino said, "I said to him, smile. Always we joke about how he needs to smile, to laugh, to put inside him more good energy and be happy. A happy boy." Breer said after the game, "I'm really pleased to score and to hopefully give me confidence to score more going forwards. Whether I'm starting or coming off the bench, I really want to help the team by scoring goals, so hopefully I can go on a bit of a run now, and I'm really excited and happy to have scored and to have helped the team with a big win." Sounds like he's being a happy boy there, Pochettino. Look, it's really interesting, this one, because yes, look, he is young. We forget he's young, and he came off a year-long ACL injury, which is massive, really. But it's not just Pochettino coming out saying this is one of the best. You know, I've referenced this story before, but Raheem Sterling, when he had that interview last season, when he saw him in training, he says, "You guys don't know about this guy yet. He is the truth. He's ridiculous." Simon Johnson of The Athletic as well, of course, we've just cited The Athletic. Over a year ago, he was, you know, being briefed by Chelsea, like, they don't do this with other players to increase asset value. This was the truth. The truth coming out of Chelsea was, they believe this guy is got ridiculous potential. Like, he could be one of the best. You know, hearing Pochettino speak there, Pochettino knows what great potential in a young striker is. Just look at Harry Kane. Harry Kane is like, I think probably right now the best striker in the world. Yes, you might say Erling Haaland with a goal scoring record, but look at what Harry Kane does. Like, his intelligence to like help his entire team drop deep, play make, score every type of goal. I think Harry Kane is the best striker in the world at the moment, especially because Benzema and Lewandowski are no longer the ones, you know. And I think the best clinical goal scorer in the 18-yard box is Erling Haaland, but the best striker, Harry Kane. I realise I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but Pochettino saw that in Harry Kane. I mean, he really likes Jackson as well. Look, mate, if you can give us several Harry Kanes, that would be ideal. But I think it is a very, very salient point that Pochettino is making there. He believes he can be. He's sort of joined up thinking with the Chelsea hierarchy over, right, this kid can be mustered. Can he realise his potential at Chelsea? We'll have to see. But it creates a dilemma for me as a Chelsea fan, because I'm thinking, what do we do with Breer? Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, we got to be patient. He had that, injury. But I just don't know what to do with him mentally. Like, lots of people are like, right, sell him. I don't think sell him, but I think go and loan him to play as a starting central striker somewhere for an entire season. Or do you keep him around, and has he got a benefit of, like, playing in the Chelsea first team? We locked him down on a long deal. I think like a 7-year deal, like one of these super long ones. We've got him. He's not going to like float away like Marson or something like that, or Trevor Chalobah's on a long deal, but he'll go anyway, it seems. I don't know how to feel about him. Chelsea want to buy an elite striker, and then after that, looks like they're really quite pleased with Nico Jackson. And you can, Jackson rightly in many ways catches hate, but also when in his absence, you see what we're missing. And, he does score the odd goal, which in this Chelsea team, this dysfunctional, misfiring Chelsea team, the odd goal is good. It's only Cole Palmer that's really been like, I'm the boy. Do you know what I mean? No one else is doing it. But there are like contributors like Jackson and Sterling or whatever. So he is an asset, and I think he's probably a good second striker. Breer's not looking like that good second striker at the moment. It looks like we need to bring in a first team striker, so it's very, very tricky to place him. Anyway, I wanted to talk about it, so I put it out to you guys. Please let me know what you think about Armando Breer and the striker situation. Of course, there's loads of developments in this January transfer window upcoming, and I'm going to be following them all here on the channel and reacting accordingly. So strap yourselves in and do make sure you subscribe if you want to. But if you want to, make sure that you do. All right, I'm out. Peace.